Welcome back. I am Elena McMillan, and you are listening to Naked Talk Radio. Joining me today for this very special Valentine's Day show are Doctors Bill and Ginger Bercaw, authors of the recently launched and highly praised book, The Couple's Guide to Intimacy. This sex therapist duo offers urgent info on how to make your relationship sexually abundant. Welcome to Naked Talk Radio, doctors.
Hi, Elena. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hi, Elena.
Hi. Happy Valentine's Day to you guys as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'm guessing it's not a coincidence that your last names are both Bercaw.
That's right. We are a married couple.
Happily married for, this is our 13th year now.
Oh, wow. Well, fantastic. Happy joy. I would imagine that with both of you being as, immersed in the world of relationships, and you do a lot. It's really not just sex therapy. You guys are clinical psychologists as well, right? And also sex addiction specialists. Is that right?
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
You guys have really, you've covered all the bases.
Well, we have, and I think that gives us the perspective to speak from that we do in the books that we're writing, and hopefully able to get a lot of good information out there to people that they can use on Valentine's Day and every day, really.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think that the one thing that I think most of us believe is that Valentine's Day is sort of a reminder to appreciate our loved ones all the time. This is not the one day that you have to appreciate your significant other, obviously. But I think people do need help. They need your help. Help us help them, because people don't know what to do with Valentine's Day, and it can be very intimidating even for long-term couples, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think, our culture certainly does put a lot of expectations on Valentine's Day. And, like you were saying earlier, couples either really buy into it or sometimes they just totally avoid it. And so I think it's important for each couple to just decide how they would like to celebrate it for themselves. And, we agree, Elena, that Valentine's Day really is just a reminder of to love and appreciate your partner as you should every other day of the year.
Right. Not every other day, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but every single other day.
I'm not taking Tuesday and Thursday off.
Yeah. Well, I think taking a day off every now and then is reasonable. But you guys say that February 15th is actually more important than the 14th.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Well, first of all, we don't want to minimize Valentine's Day. We hope everyone listening is having a very happy Valentine's Day. But if you think about what makes Valentine's Day work, it's a planned day to recognize and celebrate your love for each other. So it works because of the focus that you're putting on. Then you wake up on the 15th and you step back in your normal day-to-day relationship. So for most couples, that does not look a whole lot like Valentine's Day. It's not just because of, no more flowers or chocolates or fancy dinners. It's because the level of intentionality isn't there.
Right. And that's why we developed the concept of the living room to the bedroom. And it's really a way to maintain more focus on the two most important areas in every couple's relationship, the emotional and the sexual intimacy. And it's really designed to help couples be very intentional all year round, every single day.
And supplement with chocolate and...
The adjunct supplements, yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think that intentionality is the key. When we consciously create our relationship, it is an entirely different relationship than when we just, show up and react to how it goes, see how it goes and then respond to that. So I just couldn't agree more. Now, why is it, though, that we have more sex and relationship information available now than ever before, and yet, based on infidelity and divorce statistics, people are actually struggling as much or more now than ever before?
Yes, that's exactly right. So the statistics, and they're not getting any better. So there's two main factors, really, to answer that question. And the first one has to do with the information that's available itself. So a lot of the material that we have out there really is geared towards our quick fix culture. So it's really tempting to try and put a patch on a problem that really needs to be addressed in a more complete, more informed manner. So what we see in our practice regularly is people who have become frustrated with these quick fixes, especially for the bedroom. So they'll try them. Sometimes they'll experience a little bump in their pleasure, but it's usually a flash in the pan. There's not lasting results, and sometimes it's a total bust. So it's kind of like having dessert every night without dinner.
Yeah.
At first it's going to be a novelty that you might really like, but after a while it starts to not be so satisfying because something's missing.
Right.
So whether it's a complete meal or a truly intimate relationship, the core has to be solid before those accents can really be enjoyed to the fullest.
That makes perfect sense. Now, I love this idea of sexual abundance. How did you guys come up with that?
Yeah. Well, Elena, we came up with that really in our work with couples and dealing with really the most severely damaged relationships, those that were hit by infidelity, and more specifically those that were actually dealing with very active sex addictions. So we developed a plan that really helps couples in their very darkest time, really leading them toward the light. And the light that we're referring to is intimacy and abundance. And what we really discovered is that it's the same light that all couples want to be basking in, and that so many, just regular everyday couples find so elusive. And it really comes down to being very intentional in your relationship and nurturing that emotional connection so that your sexual connection can flourish.
So in other words, the starting line might be different. The sexually addicted couple is working from a further back starting point than the non-addicted couple, but the finish line that everybody's going for really is the same finish line, and it's the one that says deep, intimate connection and sexual abundance. That's what everyone wants.
Yeah, and I like your analogy about the line because it really is, there probably isn't a couple that couldn't have some sort of breakthrough in sexual abundance.
Yeah, we would tend to agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So can you define sexual abundance a little more specifically so people could really, wrap their head around it?
Sure. Well, in a nutshell, we look at it as the pinnacle of sexual health. It's the ultimate. It's not unreachable. In fact, it's very reachable, but it is the ultimate. So it's a fundamental awareness that your sex life is good and it's enough. And you trust that it will always be good and enough because of where it comes from. The source of it all is this deep, intimate connection. It's a truly intimate partnership where sexual pleasure is enhanced by the emotional connection. So the source of sexual abundance just keeps giving as long as the relationship keeps getting nurtured.
It's interesting that you say that. I totally get it, and I really agree. And I think for a lot of people, they're two separate conversations. Like there's sex, and then there's emotional connection. And as much as people think that they're merging the two, I don't really buy that they are. Some people are, but I think most people really struggle with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, there's a strong societal push for that perspective to really compartmentalize. As the metaphor we use is the living room and the bedroom. So what you hear mostly are the hot sex techniques. This is what you need to do to spice things up. If you just try it this way, there's this new technique. You should be having sex X number of times a week. Then you're going to have the sex life and the relationship that you want. We know that really healthy, wonderful sexuality does not occur in a vacuum. You can have hot sex in a one-night stand, sure. But most people want more than that, and we're all looking to have long-term, deeply connected relationships. So our belief is the hottest sex that you're ever going to have in your lifetime is the most connected sex that you're ever going to have, and you have that in the context of a long-term, mutually respectful, lasting relationship.
But now, it's not really like a place to get to and then you never have to create it again, right? It's not like, oh, good, we finally got to that level. You really need to continue to create that, don't you think?
Absolutely, and that's where the intentionality part comes in. You're continually nurturing your relationship, both in the living room, through having really meaningful conversation, planning fun times together, sharing your hopes, dreams, and visions together, and then planning for your fun times in the bedroom as well. And so one just naturally feeds off of the other. It's really a blend of that emotional connection with the erotic, pleasurable experiences, and they energize each other.
Definitely, definitely. So this whole idea of from the living room to the bedroom, this is a new book that you have coming out in March, right?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, we have the preview available right now, but the actual ebook itself will be available sometime in March.
Nice. And where's the preview available?
It's on our website. It's cacenterforhealing.com, and there's a link for it on our website. And it's also on the very popular dating website called Dating Without Drama.
Oh, what a very clever site, Dating Without Drama. I like that. You know, I love the whole idea of the living room to the bedroom because, again, you know, going back to our tendency to compartmentalize, a lot of people have a hard time really merging the two. And so you have a lot of couples who sort of, the sex dies out, they become, you know, best friends or roommates. You hear that kind of thing all the time. And then you have couples who have, you know, what they consider to be hot sex, but just aren't really connecting. And I think that the two organically do go well together, but for some reason we resist it. And so I love that there is something that actually helps people begin to blend the two or merge the two. And you have different stages in the book that you specifically cover, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We try and make it as user-friendly as possible because, you know, as we read self-help books, and you know, we certainly have read our fair share, especially Dr. Ginger, you know, there's a lot of good stuff out there. That's the good news. A lot of it, though, does not take the next step and say, how do we actually plug this in and use it in our relationship?
Action steps.
We've come up with this sexual abundance therapy, and, you know, it's something that before we put anything in there, it had to pass a pretty basic test. How usable is this? Is it practical for people to actually use? And then, you know, what's the benefit? So what we've come up with are these 6 stages of sexual abundance therapy. Each one kind of builds on the one before it. And when you get to the end, like you said, it's not like you've reached a finish line, but you've really advanced your relationship to a stage where now you've got that positive flow between living room and bedroom. You've got a new opportunity to keep something going that really wasn't there before you started, at least not to the same extent.
Right, right. That's smart. I really like that. So can you tell us a little bit about each of the stages? I mean, we only have a few minutes, but I love the idea, and I think if people could really get a sense of it, hopefully they will go take a look at it at the website.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, the first step, Elena, is to ask the right questions, and that is asking each other the right questions. And the first question that we think is the most important one is, what must it be like being married to me?
Or in relationship
with me.
What a great question. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
We love it too.
And
the reason is, you know, we all know how easy it is, you know, to look across at the other person and think of all the reasons, you know, if only they did this.
Right.
Relationship would be better. All these things that they do that we don't like, it's really easy to get into blame and resentment. And that is probably the number one biggest intimacy killer. So you ask this question of yourself, and it really reorders things, and it really connects you with your own power to affect change in your relationship and not be so dependent on what you're getting or not getting.
Yeah. And it really helps both of the partners to be responsible in the relationship, which is a very energizing, exciting thing to experience.
Exactly. It's not about shaming each other or making, you know, but you did this or you did that. It's really taking a look at what, you know, the view of the relationship through their eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it breeds compassion and empathy.
Yes.
And, you know, you basically, you know, when you answer that question, usually you find, I'm probably not that easy to live with either.
Yeah. Well, I like that a lot. Okay, what are the others?